Peace. This is your friend, Miss Truthy, and I hope you are doing good. Listen, I want to talk about a topic today that is very near and dear to my heart. It's something that came to me to talk about, and that is making sure that we leave an inheritance for our children. Parents, please, it is imperative, it is necessary, it is mandatory that we leave an inheritance for our children and our children's children. Sometimes, we're not able to do, everything, but sometimes a little bit can go a long way. We do the best that we can. I can say that I've seen what has happened to families when parents don't leave inheritance to their children. It can be dirty. It can be catastrophic to family relationships and dynamics. I have seen sisters and brothers not speak to each other, and aunts and nieces and nephews, and just families just fall apart unnecessarily, and a lot of times over money. You would think that when someone passes away in the family, that should bring family closer together, but instead, if things are not done the right way, and if we as parents do not leave an inheritance for our children in a fair and just way, it just causes our name to be tainted. And I mean, life is hard enough. The world that we live in is crazy. Why on earth would anyone want to leave this world with their children fighting behind and that be their legacy? So I would say this: parents, don't get your hands dirty, okay? You want to always make sure that you keep your hands clean, okay? Fortunately, we can, we have ways that we can solve this problem. I would say just split your inheritance down the middle. I don't believe that children should get an inheritance just when we pass away. I think that children should get an inheritance also while we're here. Whatever we can give to them is theirs. There is a famous episode. I don't know if some of you are familiar with The Cosby Show. You may or may not be. But there was this episode where Bill Cosby was talking to one of his daughters. And this was a very funny part of the segment where he talked to his daughter, Vanessa, about the fact that she was not rich. Now, some of you may know that in this, The Cosby Show, Bill Cosby was a doctor and his wife was a lawyer. So they obviously had a lot of money. So their daughter got into a fight with her peers because they accused her of being a rich girl. So the comedy, point of that was, Bill Cosby telling his daughter that she's not rich, that the parents are rich, they have money, but that their daughter does not have money. And I would have to say, as much as it made me laugh, I would have to strongly disagree with that sentiment. And I believe that we, especially in the Black community, need to really focus on giving to our children and making that a priority so that the next generation can stand on our shoulders, okay? I think one of the issues is with a lot of parents is that we judge our children. We may have a closer relationship with one child over another. We may think that one child will be there for us more than another, but we have to remember that only God knows our heart. And if we remember the story of the prodigal son, where there was a man who had two sons, and one son, he left an inheritance for both. But one of the sons, the prodigal son, squandered the inheritance that was left to him. Now, he went off, probably doing, a lot of things that he should not have been doing with the money. Needless to say, when he comes back, his money's all gone. He comes back to his father, his money's all gone. The other son, who did well with his father's inheritance, was, upset because, his brother had squandered their father's inheritance. And he was surprised that the father, when this prodigal son returned after squandering all the money back to his father, in his community, and his father embraced him, and was happy to have him back. And I think a lot of us, we try to judge, and we shouldn't judge our children. I don't care if your son or your daughter is a drug addict, okay? You want to always make sure that whatever you have, you split it down the middle equally for all your children. That way your hands stay clean. No one can ever accuse you of having favor. Remember, in Proverbs, it says favor is deceitful. We are not to show favoritism to one child over another, okay? We are to give. And in First Timothy, it also says, anyone who does not provide for his household has denied the faith and is worse than the unbeliever. Then it says in Proverbs, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So these are all important things to remember. Sometimes we get so hung up on our own idea of a person and what we think they should be, and we forget that God has a plan. The Most High God has a plan for our lives that a lot of times we don't see right away. So you may think that your child is, just a drug addict, or your child may squander the money, or you don't like your child's boyfriend, or you don't like their wife or their girlfriend, or you don't like the way that they're living their life. But at the end of the day, you never know what that child will become later on. And, it would be such a travesty to give and show favor to one child over the other. When you pass away, the best thing is that, you bring your family closer together, and that they can say, you know what, maybe they didn't, we didn't get along as children, but mom and dad were fair with us. They shared their inheritance with us both, and they could never blame you for anything, because they both have equal footing. You've given this one, let's say $25,000, and then you've given this one $25,000. So there, okay. Now what they do with it after they have received it, that's up to them. But at least you keep your hands clean. So I just want to close by saying that, as parents, we really need to keep our hands clean. This world is crazy enough as it is. We don't need any more stumbling blocks for ourselves or our families. I pray that we all be peaceful towards one another and do our good deeds. Follow the Lord's example, leave an inheritance for your children, make that a priority. If you got money like that and you can give it to them now, see what you can do to set them up for their future. And I pray that you are blessed.